Children don't share well. Yes, they're completely self-centered or egocentric, and they believe that everything that is provided in the program or the classroom belongs to them and only them. And that's okay, because this has been their survival mechanism since infancy. The child has learned that he may obtain what he wants or what he needs if he does this. By the time the child arrives to the early childhood classroom, he has acquired a healthy sense of self and ego, and it's all been based on his caregivers. If you had someone tell you repeatedly, "You're so smart," "What good boy you are," or "You're the best baby in the whole wide world," wouldn't you also walk around thinking you were the shit? The problem is that now you've entered a classroom full of 18 to 20 children that think the same way you do. And that's when conflict arises. All of a sudden, you're competing with a whole group of children who also think it's all about me, 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 and the world revolves around me. So really the purpose of most preschools is to help children develop these much needed skills to help them make friends, socialize, be part of a group, and really just get along with others. Heck, some of us still need help with this. Children frequently don't recognize that someone else has the same needs and wishes they have, and that's why they often take objects that another child is playing with because they think truly that the child wants them to have it. Children only remember what is relevant to them. If it's not relevant or important, it will be forgotten. Here's a fun fact. Before age 6, children process information 12 times slower than adults. So we must slow down our speech and give only 1 or 2 commands at a time. If we speak at a normal pace and say, "Please finish your snack and go get your crayons and color in the living room," the child may only process bits of this information, only hearing crayons, color, the room. Also, young children cannot conjugate, meaning they can't put the words do and not together to make sense of don't. When we say "don't hit the dog," they hear "hit the dog." So they'll look at you with a smile and hit the dog. And you think, "You wicked little child, you deliberately disobeyed me. I just told you not to hit the dog and you hit him." Instead of using don't, tell the child what to do. "Don't hit the dog" becomes "hold my hand" and offer the child your hand so you can learn how to touch the dog softly. Model this behavior. Children just can't sit for very long. A preschooler's body is crying out for movement, and sitting is just unnatural to them. And don't get me started on the frontal lobes. Sitting and being still is a frontal lobe skill, and one that almost takes 2 decades. By the way, that's nearly 20 years to develop. Enough said. Children have a hard time expressing themselves using words, and they often use physical means of communication. If you didn't have that many words to communicate your wants and needs, what would you do to get your message across? Would you use your body to get what you wanted? Possibly hitting, kicking, biting, or screaming? Yeah, of course you would. And that's exactly what children do too. Here's another fun fact for you. You know that inner voice in your head that you may or may not hear? Well, that's called inner speech. And children under age 7 lack mature inner speech. As adults, we use that inner speech to rehearse choices and outcomes before we act or do something. Should I go off on this lady or should I ignore her? Should I study for my Child Development 22 class or binge watch on Netflix? That's all part of inner speech. But with children, instead of inner speech, they decode information in pictures. So we can use pictures to guide children's behavior and avoid power struggles. One way of doing this is by using your body as a picture per se to model what we want. Then words can be used to help paint pictures of what we want. For instance, we can model soft touches by guiding the child's hands and then saying, touch softly, use soft hands. See how it works? Children have a difficult time understanding the difference between right and wrong. This is yet another frontal lobe skill. Young children do not have the cognitive abilities, that's thinking, to understand this. And adults need to be sure that we use humane and age-appropriate methods of guidance practices that support the developmental levels of children. Expecting children to perform skills that they are incapable of performing is basically you believing that children can only achieve growth through a strict system that supports right and wrong. In that case, your interest is going to be to fill children's minds with data. That's a bunch of useless information and fear. Is that what you truly believe is good for children and how children should learn?